So I've been receiving a number of emails, comments, and questions asking me about why I live in Thailand and how easy it is for me to live in Thailand. And I'm getting these questions mainly from those in the USA, looking at different options because of the change in the current situation. And so I thought, hey, I'll make this video. I'll go through why I live in Thailand, how easy it is to live in Thailand and what you need to consider, how much it costs to live in a place like Thailand, what to expect, and things like that. So if you're new to this channel, my name is Michael Hetherington, and I usually make videos about EFT tapping and other therapy-focused work. But in this video, I'm going to talk more about the lifestyle. And, this does fit into the equation because your lifestyle is largely part of your overall mental health, right? Your physical health is a factor, depending on how you live, where you live, right? So this video is going to be talking about more lifestyle and why I've chosen this lifestyle and, opening it to, give you options about different ways that maybe you could live your lifestyle here, all right? So just a quick edit here to let you know that this video will not contain lots of fancy edits, scenic scenes of Thailand or me driving through the countryside. This video is much more like a conversational style, just an exchange of information. Actually, I very rarely take photos and videos out in the world. It's just not my thing. I don't feel that drawn to it. I much more prefer just, live it, to be with it, right? And also, I'll leave a link, a bunch of resources as links in the description box below if you want to check that out and go a bit deeper with your exploration of Thailand. Okay, so let's get back into it. Okay, so let's get into this. The first thing I want to cover is why live in a place like Thailand. There's three main reasons. The first one is convenience. The second one is affordability. And the third one is peacefulness and the ease of life here. So this is probably one of the biggest ones is this idea of peacefulness, right? There's a saying in Thailand called sabai sabai, and it basically means take it easy, no rush, right? And that's very much an underlying philosophy here in Thai people, in Thai culture, is that things take a little time, right? In Bangkok, in the mega city, of course, it's a bit more hustle and less patience. But once you get out of Bangkok, it's generally very patient people. They take their time. If it starts pouring with rain, everything kind of stops for a little while. It's much more organic in that sense. And particularly as a foreigner and living in certain places, off the borders, because there is a bit of unrest on the borders, particularly with Burma and different places like that. But we don't live close to those areas. It's very low crime, low violence. Even with, particularly with females, my wife, she never feels threatened. I never really worry about her. Even if she goes out at nighttime, there's very, very little crime. So that's a huge factor when considering where to live, crime, level of safety, all those things. And in Thailand, particularly where I live, Chiang Mai, it's incredibly low crime. And that is a wonderful thing, right? Even, we leave our helmets on the scooters. No one steals anything. Sometimes I've left my keys in my scooter. No one's stolen it. You leave your phone in the scooter. No one steals it. In other parts of Thailand, that does happen, I would say, Bangkok and other parts where it's more intense touristy, like down on the islands. You may get your phone stolen, but probably from another tourist, not necessarily from a Thai person. But, you just have to be a bit more careful. When there's lots of thousands of tourists flooding into one area and then leaving the next day, generally the crime does go up, just petty crime, because, it's an opportunistic moment, right? But Chiang Mai, where I live in the north, it's much more lifestyle. There's a lot more expats who live here long term. So it's less like intense tourist fly in, fly out kind of vibe. So that's why I like living in the north in Chiang Mai. So the other thing, convenience meaning As soon as you arrive into Thailand, you can get a phone, new SIM card, very affordable. You can get money, all the ATMs pretty much work. You can get money out very easily. The roads work in most places, very easy to get around. There's taxi services, there's bus services, there's boat services, planes, 7-Eleven everywhere. English speaking in most places that you'll visit, you'll be able to get through the process with English. And if you end up in a place without much English, you'll still be able to work it out, through gestures and simple language. You can still work it through. And again, Thai people are very patient. They'll work with you to help you out, right? So super convenient. I've been to countries in this area, Vietnam, Cambodia, and things are just sometimes a little bit harder, like the banking, ATMs, getting money sorted out. Visas are a little bit more complicated sometimes. But in Thailand, generally, it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty easy stuff. It's affordable. So you get a lot for your money here. Now, I have noticed that the prices are going up, particularly since COVID, just slightly in different parts of Thailand, depending where people accumulate. But, for accommodation, for housing, for transport, for food, it's very, very affordable, right? So that brings me to the next part. What's the price, or how much do I spend per month living in Thailand? So I spend about $1,500 a month living in Thailand, and that covers everything: my rent, transport, telecommunications, food, everything, right? Now, I don't move around a lot though. So if you do come and you're like a tourist vibe and you're like bouncing from one thing to the next, going, catching a bus, catching a plane, going to this hotel, going to this hotel, having this experience and this experience, you're going to burn through a lot more money, you know? But because I live here and I'm not doing those things, I'm not moving around very much, my cost of living is quite low, right? I can eat pretty much any food I want. I have a pretty big house here, like a 3-bedroom house. Very affordable. I think I pay so I share it with my wife, and I pay about both of us if I put it together. So we've got a big 3-bedroom house at this time, and we pay about 750 US dollars a month, around that point. And, it's super affordable. And then we, divide that as well. So it's even less than that personally to pay for this. If I was in Australia, if I look at the rental to share a house, like to get a bedroom in a house in Australia, in Brisbane, from where I'm from, it'd be over $1,000 a month for one bedroom. Whereas in Thailand, I get a whole house, multiple rooms. I've even got a big garden and everything, and I'm paying 600 Australian, like half the price. Of course, I get a better deal because I'm signing a lease that's like a year long, 2-year long, and you can drop the price down. So if you go to a place like Thailand, if you, of course, with Airbnb, if you buy for a month, if you rent for a month, the price usually get a discount. So that's where you save a bit of money, is if you stay in one place for extended periods. But if you're just bouncing around, of course, you're going to be paying more money, right? So that's something to be aware of. Yeah, so I think if you have over $2,000 a month, you can live very well. You can eat anything you want, pretty much do anything you want. You can move around, you can go to the beaches, yeah. So from 2,000 upwards, you can live like a king or a queen, right? On the other end, I'd say $1,000 a month is if you want to be really frugal. And this used to be a big thing. There's lots of YouTube videos about it. Maybe pre-COVID. And I think I was living on about $1,000 a month when I first came, did this lifestyle about 6-7 years ago. And, I was paying $300, 400 US dollars a month for an Airbnb. And then I'd have an extra $500, $600 spending money. And I lived like that for some time. So it's still possible to do that, but you're going to be living in, a small apartment, maybe on the outskirts of town, very Thai style, um, more local food. So it's possible to live on $1,000 a month, but you're going to be living, still pretty good in Thai standards, but, it's going to be a little bit rough. But if you got $1,500 a month, you're going to be living much. It's a big difference. It's a big difference. You can live in a nice place, etc. 2,000 a month, you're living like a queen or a king, right? So that's that. That's to give you an overview of like the cost of living. The visa options. So most of these countries in this area, Bali, Vietnam, Cambodia, there's a thing called a tourist visa. And when I remember a few years ago, I used to just arrive and they would stamp you at the airport with 30 days. Since COVID, things have changed a bit, so you need to do your research, and most things are done online now. So you can actually get your e-visa on the internet. You may pay $30, $40, and they give you a piece of paper or a code, and you take that code with you on the plane. And when you arrive at the customs, they'll look at it, scan it in, they'll pass you through. So you get about 30 days very easily for only like $30 in most places. And that's what I'd recommend if you're exploring this idea of maybe moving to Southeast Asia or looking at it. This is what I recommend: is you come here for like a month, check it out. Don't bring too much stuff. Come, be free, check a few different places out, check the beaches out, check the north out, check Bangkok out. And then once you get a good picture of how things work here, then you can go back home, make more informed decisions. Then, if you want, you can do the big move and then look at different visas and stuff like that. So that's what I generally recommend. And for accommodation, so I always use Airbnbs most of the time. And that gives you a good idea of how much things cost in different cities and different parts of town, right? And if you're more in a vacation mode, like holiday, sitting by the pool, that's maybe more of a hotel situation. So that's where I'd book a hotel if I want like a vacation mode. But if I want more of like a life experience, lifestyle mode test, I would use Airbnbs. You can get places with little kitchens, and this will plonk you in the middle of any area, and you start to work out things like transport, supermarkets, you start to get more clued in. I think hotels and resorts, you're sort of isolated. You're in this kind of bubble. You don't really experience much outside of that bubble, and that's the way they're designed. But if you do an Airbnb, you're much more in the lifestyle and in the culture, much more. So generally, I recommend Airbnbs if you want more of a lifestyle experience. And again, if you're exploring, try different Airbnbs. Like I'd say stay in this one for like 5 days and then stay in another one, another part of town, 5 days, move to another area, 5 days. And I would generally, a lot of people bounce, like stay for 1 or 2 days and then leave. I think that's too short. Personally, it doesn't work for me. It feels, you don't get any sense of the place. You feel so disorientated all the time. I think personally, I found if I stayed in a place for like 2 weeks, that's when I'd just start to get comfortable and understand where things were, and then I'd move. And to give you an even bigger idea, I'd say you stay in a place, if you want to move your entire life, it takes, I'd say 3 to 6 months to fully get reorientated in a new city, start meeting new people, start building a new habit, lifestyle. It takes 3 to 6 months to get that in place. So that's just something to be aware of. That's my experience. So yeah, if I wanted to, get comfortable or really understand a place or give myself a chance of building a new life, I would stay in a place for 3 months. Right? But up to you, of course. So yeah, check Airbnb, check hotels for vacay mode, and that's basically it. So yeah, the overall recommendation is come to a place for a month and check it out. Bring little stuff. Don't bring too much stuff, right? Because it really limits your ability to move around. It costs more money to move around. So Thailand's a very hot country. You don't need much stuff, right? And if you need shirts or whatever, you can always just buy them, right? For like $10. So yeah, so travel light if you can. Um, During the hot season, it's very hot, so you need aircon, stuff like that. Um, it only really gets cold at night during winter, and if you're up in the north where I am, it gets cold at night, if particularly on scooters and stuff like that. So just every now and then you might, in the peak season they call it, you might need a jumper and pants, and that's kind of all you'll ever need as far as winter. Um, Maybe a wind jacket if you're scootering. But other than that, you don't need much more than that. You just need a short shirt, some swimmers, a toothbrush, right? And the basics, and your phone, and you're pretty much good to go. Um, so that's basically it. That kind of gives you an overview. Of course, do your research. And the final thing I'll mention is healthcare is amazing here as well. So like dentistry, you can get a whole new checkup. They're highly qualified, highly trained, world-class stuff. So you can get your dentistry done. You can go see doctors, get medication done, very cheap. There's lots of amazing hospitals here too. You can get pretty much anything. You can get like a full health checkup, when they scan and do all the blood tests and everything, like a health check, but like thorough, for like $100, something like that, right? So a lot of people come to Thailand because of that. It's called medical tourism. And yeah, it's legit. It's a very good service. So anyway, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Hopefully it's helpful. Do your research, check out Thailand. It's one of the best places in the world by far. It is definitely my favorite country in the world. If you're looking for more sabai sabai, more relaxed, chilled vibes, more affordable, less pressure, less intensity, less politics, less crime, Thailand really is an awesome spot. So enjoy, and I'll speak to you soon.